Welcome back. This is Sandy with Sandy's Organized Chaos, and today we're going to be doing this really fun and easy Patriotic Leopard tumbler. As always, I'll make sure to put everything into the description box below so that way you guys can shop those items if you would like to. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more tutorials, vlogs, products, all kinds of stuff I have coming your way. So let's wake up, prep those tumblers, and slay all day. Let's do this. I am starting out with a 20-ounce tumbler that I purchased through the Stainless Depot. I prepped my tumbler, I spray painted it white, and now we're ready to apply our glitter. Now I'm just going to apply my glitter with the epoxy method, but please feel free to use whatever technique you prefer to apply your glitter to your tumbler. I'm using my quick set epoxy from Alumilite to apply my glitter, so I only have to let this cure for about 2 hours. Then after that 2 hours is up, I'm going to apply another coat of epoxy right over top of my raw glitter here. I'm going to let that cure the proper amount of time. You don't want it sticky at all. It probably took about 6 hours before I was able to move on to that next step that we're about to do, but you definitely want a nice smooth epoxy surface for what we are about to do. Now the template that I used today, because I used a template, you can either use a template or you can just use tape or electrical tape if you want to. It does not matter, whatever you guys prefer. But I absolutely love lebcreates.com. She has the most amazing templates that you can find to make the most fantastic tumblers. Now, because I added a coat of epoxy, or 2 coats of epoxy pretty much over my tumbler, you're going to want to adjust your measurements just a little bit. So you just want to take a nice soft measuring tape, preferably one that you use for sewing, and wrap it around your tumbler, and you'll be able to get a little bit better of a measurement for that, so that way it fits completely around your tumbler. So I'm just going to kind of adjust my sizing here, and then I'm going to get that cut out, and we'll be ready to move on to that next step. I like to buy just a whole bunch of vinyl off of Amazon, like giant packs of vinyl that I like to use for my templates when I do peekaboos or things like this. So it just makes it a lot easier. They already come in a sheet. You just stick it down to your mat and it's good to go. But here is my template all cut out, and now we're going to apply that to our tumbler. Now this is pretty simple. All you want to do is you want to take your transfer tape, apply it down to your template, peel it back, do however you feel comfortable. You can just not take it off the backing and kind of roll it onto your tumbler that way. But I feel comfortable just taking it off completely and just rolling it around my tumbler and doing it just like this. But whatever way you guys feel comfortable, please do it that way. The main thing that you want to remember when you apply a full wrap like this is you want that first line to be as straight as possible. So what I do is I just put my tumbler right down on the table, then I get it all lined up nice and straight, and it should go on pretty easily after that. You also want to remember that this is just a template, so it doesn't have to be exact. You'd want it as close as possible to it being perfect, but it doesn't have to be exactly perfect is what I'm saying. Okay, guys, just get it down onto your tumbler and it'll be just fine, I promise. Now I'm just going to stop and think about my pattern here for a minute. I know that I want to start with blue, then I'm going to do leopard right after that, then blue, leopard, and then I'm going to pick up with my red after that, and then repeat the process where it's red, leopard, red, leopard, red. And that's how I'm going to end it. So it'll be 3 blue colors and 3 red colors down at the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and peel back this first one here. As you can see, like I said, it didn't have to, the design didn't, or the template didn't have to be perfect, because we're just peeling it back so we can do our paints. Now you can use any type of paints you already have on hand, but of course I'm going to be using my Christy Taylor Pantheon paints. I bought her whole set, so I have these beautiful blue and red paints here that I'm going to be using. These are just acrylic chalk paints, and they're so smooth, and I love the way that they go onto my tumbler. So that's what I'm going to be using. And again, I'm just using a red and a blue for that. I'm also using 2 brushes. Look at me, I got 2 brushes. I bought them from the dollar store. Those are just makeup brushes that you can buy from the makeup section there. You just want a nice fluffy brush to be able to apply your paints. Now I'm pretty much just doing a dry brush of this. Like, I only need the paint that's on the lid. That's how little paint that I used for this. And as you can see, it's just a very small amount. and you just kind of wipe it and make it look antique. And we're going to come back through and do a little bit more touching up to make it look even more kind of rustic in the end. So you just want to paint that around your tumbler, and it's as easy as that. You just want it to be as thick or as thin as you'd like. And again, you just want to just very lightly put it on there so that way you can still see the glitter a little bit through that paint. Now I'm just going to repeat that process. I'm going to pull off the rest of them. I'm going to finish up my blue. Again, we're just doing 3 blue, and then we're going to do 3 red. So extremely easy. You just want to finish up your blue here after we peel the tape off, and then we'll move on to that red. Now that the blue is done, we're going to go ahead and peel back all of the ones for the red. We're going to do up our red. Now I went ahead on the very bottom where I finished up with the red paint. I just went ahead and I painted the entire bottom red, but you guys you are more than welcome to kind of leave the bottom white and maybe add a circle of leopard down there, or whatever design that you're using down there. Whatever you guys want to do, it is completely up to you. And again, I'm just going to repeat that process with the red, where I just kind of do a little bit of a dry brushing around it to kind of make it look rustic and antique, and then we'll move on to finishing it up. Now, because we did such a thin coating of this, it dries very fast. So it's okay to pretty much touch right after we do this dry brushing. But now I notice I just want it a little bit more rustic. So all I'm doing is I'm just taking a dry paper towel and I'm just taking it and wiping over my paints just to give it just a little extra touch here and there. Now this is completely optional. If you don't want to do this, you don't have to do this, but this is what I did. So I just wanted to make sure that I came back through and showed you guys exactly what I did. And I'm just going to finish that up all the way around. Very easy. And then we're going to apply our leopard. So for the leopard, I'm going to show you guys exactly what I did because I want it to be the same size as as the stripes that I was doing. So I'm going to use this square and pretend that it's the design that we use, because my Cricut studio wasn't working properly and I had to show you guys with this rather than with my actual picture that I used. So I'm going to go ahead and set that behind my stripes here. I'm going to move that back. Then all I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight everything. I'm going to slice, and there you go. And that's how you are able to print out the exact diameter of your stripes that we're about to do. Or you can go ahead and print an entire sheet and just do it that way. You can go ahead and copy or cut out your stripes if you need to, but there are the stripes. That's how I printed them out. And this is the paper that I used. I'm using the clear vinyl sticker paper. You pretty much print it right onto it, cut it, and paste it right onto your tumbler. That's all you have to do. But you have to use a light background in order to be able to see your image. This isn't like one of those nice decals that you see with the white backing. This does not have the white backing. This is pretty much like using a clear water slide. So you can either use a clear water slide, or you can use printable vinyl, or you can use the sticker paper that I just showed you. It does not matter. There is no right or wrong when it comes to making art. But I know I wanted to be able to see the glitter through my design, so that's all I did. And the design that I used, all I did was look up distressed leopard background, and this is what I came up with. I'll make sure to put that shop into the description below for you guys. And as you've seen, I just peeled my backing off, and I'm gonna roll that completely around my tumbler, and there you go. That's how you do the leopard portion of this look. I'm going to go ahead and finish up putting all my little leopard decals on here, and then we'll be ready to move on to the next step. After I have them all applied, I'm going to make sure that I come through and rub them down really, really good. You want to make sure that they're nice and flat against your tumbler. You want to make sure there's no air pockets. If there's an air pocket, just poke a little hole in it, press it out. This stuff is pretty durable, so you're not going to hurt it. Now I'm going to go ahead and put a very thin coating of epoxy over top of this before we add our pinstriping and our stars. I just feel more comfortable that way because I don't want to accidentally peel up any of my paint or anything. So I went ahead, I applied a quick coating of my quick coat epoxy. There we go. Let that dry the proper amount of time, and now we're ready to finish up with our detailing. Now for the pinstriping, I'm just going to be using this nail tape that I got off Amazon. I'll make sure to put that into the description box below as well. And for the stars, I just did a basic cutting on my Cricut design space, they already have shapes available. So you just make them the size that you would like them, apply them down. It doesn't matter if they overlap over top of that leopard because you kind of want that. You want it to look like it's underneath. So go ahead and overlap over the leopard as well. Then we're going to come back through with our X-Acto knife and we're going to go ahead and slice those pieces. And after we slice it, we're going to go ahead and remove that piece off the leopard there, and we're just going to move it down to another section so that way we kind of reuse our stars here and we don't waste anything. After we have our stars all trimmed up, then we're just going to come through, and I chose a gold, like a metallic gold for my pinstriping. I thought it just went really well with the leopard and kind of the look that we were going for. I felt like silver would have been a little too much, so I'm really glad that I stuck with the gold here, and it's pretty easy. You just lay your tape down and you just want to work kind of slowly so that way you get it as even as possible right around because it's pretty thin. If you don't feel comfortable doing this, then just cut out your little pinstriping on your machine and it'll be just fine. Nobody will know the difference. It does not matter. So however you feel comfortable. Once I get around to that other side, I'm just going to lightly press it with my X-Acto knife. Well, there we go. Now I'm gonna, okay. See, all right, there we go. Then I'm gonna remove it, and then I'm gonna continue on just jazzing up all the rest of my stripes with that gold metallic. Now, another thing I noticed with the nail pinstriping is that if you handle it too much, it has a tendency to kind of want to peel up on itself once you go to apply that epoxy. So you don't want to touch it that much. You try to just want to lay it down and then don't touch it again after that. And I actually kind of like to come through and I'll just trim up the end of my tape as well, just to make sure that everything's going to stay stuck down to my tumbler. Then once that is completely done, I also like to come through and I just make sure I take my finger and I go the direction that that tape was going. So I don't want to peel it up or anything like that. I go in the direction that I applied it and I make sure that I smooth out every single end where it connected, just so that way I made sure that it stayed stuck down to each other. And another thing that I like to do is I like to take my 2x Ultra spray sealer, I spray it down really well, and then we're going to be adding 2 last coats of epoxy, and she is good to go. Whether you take this design and duplicate it as is, or you take it and let it inspire you to create something that is completely your own, I hope that you guys had a lot of fun watching this tutorial today. Again, if you're new to my channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys next time.